Hello and welcome to your favorite channel WABS Stories, where we have started a series of even true and real events that happened and shocked the world. We bring to you amazing, horrifying and shocking stories every day, most of which will be based on true stories and fiction. Phillip and his wife Daria lived together in a luxurious house in one of the most prestigious areas of the city of her coots. The latter is located at the confluence of the gooden and garo rivers. Phillip was a hardworking and commanding man who was 32 years old. He was selfish and loved money more than anything else. Besides working as an accountant, his father's name was Macios, his mother's name was Alevtina, and he had a brother and a sister. Daria was a tender and sensitive woman who was 25 years old. She completed her higher education and had a certificate in the design field, and she was also the chief designer in her father's company, which made women's shoes. Included high-heeled sandals. Her father's name was Vladimir and her mother's name was Elizabeth. She was the only daughter of her parents Phillip and Daria married a year ago, despite the fact that they were from two different socio-economic groups. She came from a wealthy family, while he came from a middle-class family. Daria didn't give a damn about it, and she wasn't about to tell anyone about it. Instead, she respected him and stated that she believed there are more important things in life than money, such as the fact that money does not buy everything and does not buy happiness, which is why she believed she would live a happy life with Phillip. Phillip, on the other hand, was a stern man who only cared about himself. After the marriage, Daria realized that Phillip had changed dramatically. He was only trying to impose his own decisions on her without listening to her opinions, and he treated her badly and screamed at her frequently, which made the situation worse. She was also suffering from verbal abuse, which is why their marital relationship was full of problems due to the lack of discussion between them. Phillip, in addition to the lack of harmony, understanding and consistency, did not care about Daria's feelings, since he was a cold-hearted man who only worried about her money. So he used to take her money by force and spend it on things that were of no use to her. Daria had a desire to visit an orphanage and offer money to the youngsters who were in need and to buy clothes for them. She asked Phillip if he wanted to accompany her, but he yelled at her as usual, preventing her from donating any money and even asking her to give him that money because he wanted to buy a new luxury car. Daria was surprised by his greed and selfishness, and she did not do what he asked her to do because she was tired of his selfishness, as she usually did. Despite this, she told him that she would not give him any money and that he would not get a car because he already had 3 excellent cars. Daria went on to tell Phillip that she had decided to donate the money, and it was at that point that Phillip became enraged because Daria didn't seem to care about what he was saying, and he slapped her across the face so hard that she fell to the floor. Daria couldn't believe what her husband had done and that he had beaten her, so when Phillip approached her to help her stand, she ignored him. While the slap hurt her, the psychological and moral pain she was experiencing at the time was greater than the physical pain, so Phillip lost his place in her heart and the feelings she had for him vanished. Daria was tired of living with Phillip's mistreatment of her, and that slap was the last straw. She decided to break the marriage and obtain a divorce, and Daria grabbed all of her vital belongings and left the house, headed to her father's mansion. Phillip never expected Daria to make that decision because he thought that she loved him and couldn't leave them. Besides, he thought she was just joking and would come back home in a few days. In the court a week later, after the judge declared his decision that Phillip and Daria were divorced, Daria rushed out of the hall to avoid colliding with Phillip. So she had her parents get in the car and drive them to their house because she planned to return to live with them after the divorce. Daria remembered how she met Phillip, his good treatment of her during their engagement, and his false promises. She also remembered the beautiful moments they shared together. As a result, she was quite depressed. Daria had some difficult days. She was upset that Phillip did not care about their divorce and acted as if they had never been married. She also did not go to work for several days. However, the condition did not continue long. Daria determined to start over and not give up. She convinced herself. Daria was very busy, as she was responsible for managing the company after her father passed away, but she did not miss any opportunity to design. As a result, she decided to start a new life and return to her work in the company because she missed designing. Daria awoke this morning and prepared herself to go to the company where she had a very important business meeting with the owner of a well-known fashion design company. When she arrived at the company, the secretary informed her that the company delegation would be arriving in minutes. After Daria was informed about the arrival of the delegation, she went straight to the conference room to start the meeting. As soon as she walked in, she drew everyone's attention and went to sit in the chair reserved for the firm's owner. In the conference room, there was the owner of a fashion design company, Alyosha, who was a successful 30-year-old businessman. Despite her young age, she took on the responsibility of managing and administering that large corporation. His admiration for her was obvious, especially after she explained her offer and what the company could offer, as well as some of the deal's details. Her way of speaking and using body language drew the attention of all the attendees. She succeeded to persuade him and offer her charms at the end of the encounter. The meeting ended with Alyosha Dori consenting to the requirements. The transaction was about designing and manufacturing of healing modern shoes that took into account the designs of summer garments that Alyosha's company was preparing professionally, the initiatives that would benefit each of them, and several additional details. Daria and Alyosha were staring at each other once more. She noticed the admiring looks in Alyosha's eyes at that time, as well as his considerable interest in her and his attempts to get closer to her. At one of the encounters, Alyosha proclaimed his love for Daria and his wish to complete his life with her. But she refused to engage again, because she told him that she had been married before and had suffered a lot. She added that she did not want the same thing to happen to her, especially since she couldn't forget about her first marriage. Many meetings between Alyosha and Daria took place after that. Sometimes they met each other in his company, and occasionally in hers, to discuss the progress of their bargain. Daria noticed that she had forgotten about Phillip and had become preoccupied in her new relationship. On the other hand, she observed in her interactions with Alyosha that he was a strong-willed, self-assured, and affectionate man, whom she admired in his attitudes towards her during the time together. Furthermore, during the previous period, the women's high-heeled shoes and sandals were meticulously and professionally manufactured. So, after Daria supervised the designs, she chose the best and most wonderful collection, which was a distinct set of unique designs, and the shoes were handed over to Alyosha after ensuring the high quality and exact quality of the shoes. He was impressed and satisfied with the work. After the great success of the Alyosha fashion show, the latter hosted a party in honor of the occasion, and he personally invited Daria to attend. She arrived at the party in a stunning, long golden gown with high heels, and Alyosha was enthralled by her and refused to take his glass away from her. Throughout the party, Alyosha confessed to Daria his love and desire to spend the rest of his life with her. She was pleased at the time because Alyosha did not give up, and she realized that he truly loved her, as well as that she was attracted to him. As a result, she decided to give herself and him a chance in order to form a family with each other. Thus, they happily accepted marrying. 2 months after, Daria and Alyosha announced their engagement. Daria's ex-husband Phillip got in the way and refused to let her join the firm until she heard what he wanted to say. At that moment, he informed her that he deeply regretted the way he treated her when they were married. In addition, he expressed his guilt for divorcing her and sought for her forgiveness. On the other hand, Daria was taken aback by what she had heard, and what startled her even more was that he asked her to marry him again. Daria told him she'd forgotten about everything and had begun a new life, adding that she would marry the man she loves next week. So then she said her goodbyes to Phillip and left him, returning to the company 6 months later after noticing a tear streaming down his cheek. Daria and Alyosha married and lived happily ever after because their marriage was successful due to their mutual understanding and harmony. Alyosha, on the other hand, treated her well and respected her, doing his best to see your grin. Today was one of Alyosha's most beautiful days, and Daria said she found out she's pregnant and they'll have a baby girl in a few months. No matter how gloomy the sky appears, because the dark clouds will always pass and the sun will always shine again. Thanks for watching. Please like this and share this video with your friends and family.